Oh, what is up everyone, I am Devin Cringe, and today we're going to be taking a look at another one of the ugliest cartoons ever. So, do you know how there are some really bad looking shows out there? It may be either because of budget constraints or because they were simply trying to freak us the hell out. But there are some cartoons out there that are so bad it makes you wonder how the hell they got past episode 1. So for this episode, we got a cartoon from the Sea and Dark Ages, a horrible time of corporate greed and cheaply made flash cartoons, a time where good shows were heavily outnumbered by the bad ones. Ladies and gentlemen, get your puke buckets ready. This is George of the Jungle.
George of the jungle, friend to you and me. Watch out for that tree.
Now when he gets in a scrape, he'll make his escape with the help of his friend.
Yep, that's the intro, folks. Based on the 1976 cartoon of the same name, George of the Jungle is a parody of Tarzan, and it pretty much did everything it could to get as far away as possible from the source material. Now, this show came out in 2007, a year that many historians believe was the Cartoon Network's lowest point. One of the main reasons is because this was the era of the horrendous random equals funny shtick. Yeah, we all know that. Like, make the episodes as nonsensical as possible. We don't need any substance or plots. Let's just make it stupid because kids will watch everything, right? And then they all just went bankrupt. Now, of course, it's not really all bad. Like, this show did, of course, have a lot of the original characters like Ursula, Ape, Shep, and Tuki, who doesn't even look like a toucan, or how he originally was, is like a random purple bird. It's just, what the hell is going on? They actually added 2 new savage characters called Magnolia and, of course, her dad, the witch doctor. The show pretty much dumbed down every single one of the characters because apparently a character being stupid automatically makes it funny, and in my opinion, I think George received the worst treatment of all. Now, George, of course, since the cartoon is called George of the Jungle, he's supposed to be the main focus of the show, right? He's supposed to be the main character, the one who gets things done at the end. Well, in this show, George is basically reduced to just some random guy who gets into trouble and actually needs everyone else to help him, unlike in the original show, where he was called upon to protect the jungle from danger. And if you thought that was bad enough, oh, wait a minute, we still haven't gotten into the other characters. Let me tell you about Ursula. So, Ursula originally started out as George's beloved mate in the original cartoon. In the George of the Jungle movie, she was basically just, it's a parody of Tarzan, on an expedition in Africa and gets tracked down by her rich fiancé that she doesn't want to marry and all that stuff. And George ends up saving her, but in this cartoon, she is basically just a regular tomboy city girl who wants to bring modern life into the jungle and lives with her father, Dr. Scott. Why they decided to live in the jungle, no one knows. Maybe the dad got a brain fart or something. So if you already haven't noticed where they went wrong with this character, let me explain. First, she started off as George's wife. Then she, in the movies, she was a hairdresser who was on an expedition in Africa, meaning that she was interested in the jungle. Now she is just some random regular girl who wants to bring modern life into the jungle and essentially destroy nature. Yeah, kind of making her George's enemy. When you think about it, yeah, they kind of should be on opposite sides, but, it's random equals funny, so who gives a crap? And now it is time to talk about Ape, who in my opinion got an even worse treatment than Ursula because his main character trait is taken away from him completely. Most of the time Ape seems even dumber than George, which, like I said, defeats the main point of his character, the fact that he is a smart ape, The joke was that George is raised by apes in the jungle, as opposed to how an ape is raised in a zoo by humans, so that means that in this scenario, the ape is smarter than the man, but I guess that was too intelligent for them. And of course, the new character, Magnolia, I really don't know what the hell to say about her. Like, honestly, she is pretty much, she's bland. Her voice is annoying as hell. First off, I don't even know why the hell they decided to give her a southern voice. She's been born in an African jungle, for fuck's sake. And second of all, her dad is literally just a ball with arms and legs. How the hell did that happen? Now, of course, the minor characters, George's pets, being Shep and Tuki, pretty much stayed the same. Shep is still an elephant that behaves like a dog, and Tuki is still in there, but he does not even look like a toucan or how he was in the original show. Oh, wait a minute, everyone. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. Just make the characters look as simple and as geometric as possible, It's so goddamn funny how a show from the 60s has better character design. Now this, folks, is pretty much a shining example of how it doesn't matter if your budget is small, you can still make a quality show if you put time and effort into it. I honestly bet that even the original Scooby-Doo had like a lower budget than the George of the Jungle reboot, And yeah, look at how well the characters look like in that show, even though there are a few errors here and there. And if you think that's bad enough, oh my god, the plots of the episodes were even worse. So instead of George actually trying to save the jungle with the help of Ape and others, he actually gets into random situations, he gets in more trouble than he ends up solving, and he needs the other characters to save him. So yeah, pretty huge fall from grace, I gotta say. Oh, and by the way, everyone, did I mention that George and Ursula in this cartoon are more depicted to be close friends than actually being together, which I thought this was supposed to be a Tarzan parody, but I guess the writers had different ideas. I guess they were smarter than all of us. So back on topic, the plots of the episodes are pretty much some of the worst examples of the whole random equals funny formula you can get. So in one episode, Ape automatically starts dancing after he hears the sound of bongo drums, and during the episode they try to stop him and all that, and you will never guess what hilarious thing they finish the episode off with. George starts whistling with the two leaves of grass, and Ape's arm starts dancing. Can you believe that? What a hilarious thing, like a fucking 10 out of 10 episode, I swear to god. In another episode, almost everyone turns into zombies who crave dog biscuits, and the dumbest episode of all, in my opinion, is where Maggie and Ursula get a spitting ladybug as a pet. And by the way, I'm not making this up, a spitting ladybug.
Now, Clementine. Cute little pets don't spit goo.
Again, you cannot make this crap up even if you tried. You can try your damnedest, but you will never come up with anything as stupid as this. And of course, like I said, this was a dark time for animation. Really dark. So now that we're on the topic of the animation itself, well, the animation was just blocky as all hell. The characters were extremely pathetically simple. Like a lot of cartoons in that era, it featured a huge metric ton of backgrounds with barely any attention to good coloring and almost no movement to speak of. If you actually go to the IMDb page of this show, there's actually a review from someone who claimed that they worked on the show, and it is so goddamn hilarious. So the review is titled "Worst Animation Ever, Especially to Work With." It says, "I have worked with this show in my animation school, and this is by far the most frustrating show to work with. The character designs are far from the movie, as something that fans fell in love with when it came out, and from the old school cartoon show. Voice acting is hard to listen to, and the stories are not that interesting. I worked with a couple of episodes in my learning, and I have watched them through. Not that great." To the people who think the animation is good, I would say that you should rethink that. The animation, according to the experts, is one of the worst in recent history, which is very, very true, and you don't have to be an expert to notice that. This is according to people who have been in the animation industry for 20 years or more, and those who work with the programs used for Joe the Jungle for quite some time. Even the guy who had to do the layouts for the show said it was the worst thing ever, which is pretty true. If you want good animation with zany humor, I recommend you look at something like Wander Over Yonder. George of the Jungle is not something I would like to have playing on a TV in my house. It's painful to watch the animation and much less to work with it, which is completely and entirely true, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, everyone, we have to take into account that IMDb is, of course, not the best source for everything, because people can just change everything and write reviews as much as they please, but I am more inclined to believe that this is a true review, because they did say that they worked with it in animation school, and of course, by looking at it, you can see that it was clearly done by amateurs, and we all know that pretty much any project that frequently changes people in and out, the people that end up working with it don't really know what the hell to do, and it just turns into shit. And just like the review said, the voices are just so hard to listen to, and it's not really the voice actors' fault, but really the hack writers that made them talk that way, and especially how they gave Maggie a southern accent while clearly she grew up in an African jungle. You know, it's pretty much apparent that she spent less time braving the wilderness and more time binge-watching Reba. Well, I think I've pretty much said all I can say about this show. I really don't remember a lot of the episodes, you know, like with the previous Ugliest cartoon ever, I don't remember a lot of it. And, of course, like a lot of CN Dark Age shows, it really isn't all that easy to find info about it. Because most of them are just, you know, so buried. It's you think that the network themselves were just so embarrassed they wanted to wipe the show like off the internet or something. This show is pretty much one of the only exceptions because it is related to an old IP, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why George of the Jungle is one of the ugliest cartoons ever. Anyway, everyone, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and press the little bell icon, and if you wish to support me in a different way, my Patreon link is in the description below. As always, I'm Demon Cringe, and I'll be seeing you guys and gals in the next video.